Welcome to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast, where we aim to help fellow veterinary rehab therapists increase their knowledge and elevate their practice. I'm Megan Kelly.
And I'm Anae Lloyd. Together, we bring you the latest insights, research, and information in the field of veterinary rehabilitation.
This podcast is brought to you by Onlinepethealth, a leading continuing education membership for veterinary rehabilitation therapists. With Onlinepethealth, you'll have access to a wide range of online resources to help you stay up to date with the latest techniques, advances, and trends in the industry.
Our podcast features in-depth conversations with leading experts in veterinary rehabilitation. They share their own experiences and knowledge to help you improve your practice. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the field, our goal is to provide you with the tools and the insights you need to succeed.
So join us as we explore the exciting world of veterinary rehabilitation and help you take your practice to the next level. Hey vet rehabbers, in this Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcast episode, I chat with Shawn Zimmermann about her journey into veterinary rehab. Shawn is from MedVet Cincinnati in Ohio, United States. She had a profound realization that she had been stagnant professionally for about 10 years, and this sparked a fire in her, leading her to specialize in veterinary rehab as a vet tech. She is currently preparing for her final exams, which are in May, and she's also committed to multiple courses and accreditations to enhance her knowledge. Shawn's never stop learning attitude is truly inspiring, and as you know, we are all about vet rehabbers never stop learning. Before we head over to the podcast, a quick shout out to Vicky from @vetness.gr. Thanks for the shout out on Instagram about the veterinary rehabilitation podcast, Vicky. I'd love to gift you a limited edition veterinary rehabilitation mug. Please email me on meg@onlinepethealth.com. Also, keep your eyes peeled for this year's Vet Rehab Summit launch. Tickets will be available from the 17th of May, 2024. If you're listening to this after the date, did you know that you can access all the Vet Rehab Summit recordings when you become a member of Onlinepethealth? So that's right, like 7 years now of recordings of all the Vet Rehab Summits. You can find out more about this year's Vet Rehab Summit, and you can sign up to get notified about the summit at vetrehabsummit.com. Lastly, a little info on our sponsor, Curacao Vet. Curacao was owned and founded by Nada Robinson. Nada first developed her courses at the Colorado State University, where she started the Medical Acupuncture for Veterinarian Certificate program, and this was in 1998. In so doing, Dr. Robinson developed a science-based platform for veterinary acupuncture, and this was the first of its kind. Now today, Curacao Vet offers a comprehensive curriculum in integrative medicine with a rational, evidence-supported foundation. Courses include medical acupuncture, photomedicine, botanical medicine, medical massage, and integrative rehabilitation. You can discover Curacao Vet at curacao.org, and you can also see them at this year's Vet Rehab Summit. So let's hear what Shawn had to say. Hey Shawn, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Shawn, for the listeners, won't you tell them how you got into the field of vet rehab?
Yeah, so I started off in art school and did that for 2.5 years, and then switched to anthropology because I wanted to be an Egyptologist, and got my bachelor's in anthropology. Did not get into grad school, got a dog while I was waiting to get into grad school who had horrible vaccine reactions, and nobody believed me that it was a vaccine reaction. So then I kind of got into this whole holistic side of caring for my pet, and then went and got a job as a kennel person at a veterinary hospital, and then decided I want to be a veterinary technician. So I went to technician school, graduated in 2003, and then adopted a dog who had really bad congenital issues. It was a Chihuahua. She had carpal hyperextension. She had really horrible kyphosis. And I got really interested in rehabbing her. All that was available in the area in 2005 was an underwater treadmill, and that was actually about an hour away. So I was working in an emergency clinic, and although I feel like I have really good compassion and nursing care, I'm not so great at the codes and things like that. And I was like, I know I found my niche, but I need to figure out where my niche is. So I was really interested in behavior, and then the rehabilitating my Chihuahua made me interested in that. So I signed up for the, I think we might have been in Tennessee at the same time. I was there in 2005.
Wow, in
Yeah,
July.
yeah. And I stayed
Wow.
in the dorms, up in, in walking distance from where we had the classes and that. So,
Yeah.
so I took the courses in July in 2025, took my test in December, passed, and luckily got hired on one of the area's oldest referral surgery places. Like he was one of the first and like the most experienced, and got hired on there. Was able to practice a little bit while I was preparing for my test, and then afterwards it was pretty much just rehab. So I was there for 6 years, and then they decided to close their surgery department, which then eliminated my position. I mean, it didn't have to, but it did. And then I luckily played my cards so right that I had like 3 interviews the next day that they told me they were closing the surgery department, and got hired on pretty much immediately at MedVet, which is, at the time there was only 2 locations, and now I think we have 25.
Wow.
And that's been it. So I've built up 2 rehab practices, obviously not on my own, but through corporations. And so I've been practicing since 2005.
Wow. So I'm so interested that you were there probably at the same time.
Yeah,
Do you remember going white water rafting?
I did not go on that trip. That was a
Did
little
you
too
not?
much, too scary for me. I didn't. No, I did not. I know that happened, but I did not do it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, you were one of those crazies.
Mm-mm,
Yeah, I did
mm-mm.
it. I did it. It was such fun.
I bet.
And actually, since then, I've interviewed somebody actually on the podcast, Angela, and I remember actually her from the UK because I did my practical with her, and she actually sent me a picture of us going down on our raft, all of us
I
down there.
love it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I remember them talking about that the next day in one of the lectures, but no, I didn't go on
It
that.
wasn't you,
I
yeah.
should have. I should have.
It was fun. It was really fun. I was a little bit scared too, but it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
They made it out to be a whole lot worse than it was. So.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now you're at MedVet. Tell us what the setup is like. So how many of there are you? What kind of equipment you have? Yeah, what does the setup look like?
Mm-hmm. So I've been at MedVet since 2012, and I have been through having some CCRPs with me, but now I'm the only one. And I have 2 veterinary assistants that are both interested in going to vet school. And then we just recently hired a human physical therapist who is going to go for her CCR. Well, she's probably going to go for the CCAT. She is from Uzbekistan and got her PT in the Czech Republic. And so she's working on getting her certification here. But as soon as she gets all of that sorted out, then she is going to do her rehab and then be the second practitioner with us, which is amazing because I always love having the brain workings of a PT, because that's not my background. My background is a vet tech, and I think there's just very priceless to have that.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have people from different fields or working doing similar thing. You know, when you get feedback, you learn so much from the other.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the vet rehab team is so important.
Yeah.
Like the physio, the vet tech, the vet, like
Yeah.
everyone complements one another and just for the best outcome for that
Yeah.
patient. So yeah, it's really great. And like you say, the physios think very differently to us. I think in vet tech school and vet school, we taught to think a certain way, and the physios they think a different way. So I always used to love those conversations and always learned a lot when chatting about cases to them. Okay, so now how many consult rooms do you have? Have you got an underwater treadmill? What type of equipment have you got?
So we have one exam room / consult room / quiet stuff room, like massage or manual therapies. We have another room that houses the treadmill, the holding tank, a desk, laser, shockwave, which we've just got the shockwave within the last few months. And then we also have the Assisi lounge, Assisi loops, so pulse electromagnetic field, and then obviously all kinds of equipment. And so our room's so small, we try and do as much as we can in the room, but we spill out into the hallway, which is definitely not ideal, but it is what it is. And hopefully we will, when we finally get some renovation, we will have more of a private room to do more like a gym type of, like a small gym. But hopefully if we get a new building at some point soon, we will actually have more like a gym, which I'm so jealous that when I've seen them, I'm like, oh, this would be so amazing.
I know, it's always such a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you are incorporated into a part of a practice, whether it be
Yeah.
a primary veterinary practice or referral practice. Space is always the
Yeah.
issue. And, you know, like we always just want space. And I actually went in, I think it was 2010 to Denver. And I went and actually saw, it wasn't actually a rehab facility. It was more like an exercise facility, like, but they had underwater treadmills and they had like swimming pools, and like it was absolutely amazing the amount of space that they had. I remember thinking, oh, I'd love to have that. That'll be amazing, like a dog gym. But yeah, if you get to have a new premises, then you can put a motivation in for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and they know too that we need it. I mean, the higher ups, I don't know the proper term for that, but like the hospital manager and the medical director, they all are super supportive in trying to make the space work, and are so much more understanding about what is needed for rehab space. And so that's just, and a lot of these things, even though I've been here for 12 years, these are a lot of new things that are happening for me, which is amazing because, you know, everybody who's listening knows that you kind of have to prove yourself over and over and over again, no matter if you're a doctor or a vet or a physio in this field. You have to explain why you need the things, justify why you need the things, show people why things work. And sometimes it takes 12 years even if you're really good at what you do.
Yeah, because a lot of the vets didn't learn about rehab at universities, so it's so new for them. So it's a constant challenge. I think now the younger vets that are coming in, they have a little bit more knowledge about it. But I had the very same thing when I first started practicing back in like 2006, 2007. Just like this constant having to explain people and justify. And the best way to do it is to treat that veterinarian's dog. Like if you get that opportunity, then they're sold, because you know, if they can't sort it out, then you're their last hope, and then you just, you know, help the animal, and then they're like, okay, I get this now. That's the best way. Or obviously a number of cases. So MedVet is a referral practice, so there's no primary veterinary there. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So are most of your referrals coming from in-house, or are there other practices that are referring just for rehab, or do they mainly come like for surgery and then filter into the rehabilitation side of things?
I would say the vast majority of our cases that are post-ops or have seen surgery, and surgery refers them to me, like for medial shoulder instability, but most of it is post-op stuff. And then some outside referral. Now, I think that sometimes the doctors think that they have to go through one of our they have to send one of their patients through one of our departments, but because I work under the umbrella of MedVet, they can directly refer, and I just don't know how well they know that. But I am going to try and get I do CEs. Well, since COVID, MedVet hasn't been hosting as many CEs, but hopefully I'm going to start doing more of a veterinarian track as far as CEs go, because I was doing mostly technician tracks, and I really want to reach out to the vets, because they don't know. And I mean, even the younger ones, they might have an idea, but they just don't know all there is to offer and all the different things that can benefit from it.
So are you, I mean, how full are you? Like what percentage capacity are you full right now? I mean, do you need to market like to those outside vets, or is the in-house referrals just keeping you 100% busy?
So I myself support two neuro doctors who do several different types of spinal surgery, and three surgeons. And then we have another surgeon who doesn't do a whole lot of ortho, but every once in a while he'll do a spinal surgery, but he does do a lot of amputations. So I support all of that plus outside referrals. So right now, I'm booked out probably 3 weeks with maybe one or two appointments out. On my schedules, I can see three. I have it blocked out so it's easier for our scheduling team to schedule, because we don't have a scheduling coordinator for the department. It's just not just because the front desk people are essential, but it's the front desk people who schedule that. So I try and make it as easy as possible because they're trying to schedule for several different departments. So I can see 3 evaluations a day and 3 rechecks a day, or 3-hour-long appointments. So that could be manual therapies. That could be if there's a rehab patient that really needs my skill set as opposed to a totally fine TPLO post-op, I'll schedule them in my schedule. Casting for braces, measuring for wraps, cart fittings, things like that is what those hour-long appointments would be. But I have 90 minutes for my evaluations.
Okay. So what are the days that you're working per week and the hours in total that you're working?
I work Monday through Thursday, 9:30 to 6:30.
Okay, that's awesome. So you get a long weekend every single.
Yes.
It's needed. This is
Yes.
hard work we do.
It's you invest a lot into your patients and your clients. Like, it can be very difficult you got to unwind. Plus, if you're been working on trying to do your VTS for the last 5 years. It's also...
So tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. So I started the process in 2019. And
maybe you can just explain to everyone, because maybe not everyone knows what it is.
Yeah. So the NAVTA, the National North American Veterinary Technician Association, has specialties. And rehabilitation is the newest one, which started in 2018. They also have academies for anesthesia, behavior, dentistry, nutrition, internal medicine, clinical management, I think. So I think what I was reading last time is that there's 1,600 VTS, so veterinary technician specialty or veterinary nurse specialties in the world, which is not very many if you think of how many veterinary nurses there are. And they all have their own academy, they all have their own process, but basically you have to get pre-approved, which I did in 2019, and then you have to have a rigorous application process where you have case reports and also case logs. They're very detail oriented. And then, so that took me, I was rejected twice. And the third time I got accepted, I took my test in October. I did not pass it. So I'm taking it again May 5th. So I feel much more confident. I have a mentor now, and she recommended listening to podcasts. So I have gone all the way back to the very beginnings of yours. I also listened to the Vet Lab one, which is hosted through the PZO Vet or PZO Wave product. And I found a couple others, but I've learned so much redoing, and I have grown so much in the last 5 years. I really wish I would have done it sooner, but it's really amazing. I would highly recommend going for it if anybody is interested, because you think you know what you're doing, but as I've heard many times on your podcast, the certification for rehabilitation through whatever school it is, that is just the basics. You really have to build on that. And you learn so much when you do that.
Yeah, and these specialities is like a little bit like a forced way of learning more. It's a little bit like, being a diplomat. You have to go through all the
Yeah,
research, and you got to
yeah,
go do all the stuff, and you got to do all of it. And then you come out a better therapist in the end.
yeah.
So it's
And
all
that's
good.
that's what it is. I compare it to, I mean, as for an, it's like a diplomat, but it's the nursing track. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the highest you can get, is getting a
Yeah.
VTS. So
Well, good luck. We'll be thinking
thank
of
you.
you
Thank
on
you.
May the 5th, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be great. So you sound like you're confident, and you sound like you're more prepared, and maybe more what you need to do.
I do, yes.
Yeah. So having a look back over the last, 12 years you've been working for MedVets, but you've obviously been in rehab a whole lot longer. Is there anything that you've done or didn't do that you would maybe have changed if you look back?
Mm-hmm. So if I knew that I was going to end up being a veterinary technician, I think I would have probably pursued vet school, not because I want to do surgeries or anything like that, but because I want to be able to do acupuncture and chiropractics, prescribe, and things like that. But I don't regret it or anything like that. If I would have known, that's what I would have done. The other thing is that I felt like I was on autopilot for like not the last 10 years, but for about the last 10 years, starting about a year ago. And now over the last year or two, I feel like I'm really not on autopilot anymore. So I really wish I hadn't lost that 10 years. Because you just get older, and then you're like, well, what am I going to do? I can only physically do this for so much longer. But not that I'm that old or anything like that, but you do think about those things. So I wish I would have not gotten in autopilot, not gotten stuck for a little while, but that's okay. I'm making up for it now. And then I also wish that I would have been able to get into the agility and sports world a little bit more. I'm going to now, but I wish I would have done it earlier and been able to really get in there. At the very beginning, I tried by doing presentations and being present at a couple of different clubs around town, but I couldn't crack the egg. So
Is that something you're passionate about? The sports
I want to help. Yeah, I
athletes?
mean, I do. I mean, I think that that's a really important part of the whole rehab community, and I've always wanted to be able to not necessarily specialize in it, but at least get more patients, and I haven't really been able to get there yet. Although I do have really good relationships with the clients that have come in with their dogs who are athletes. I don't have people coming to me just because their dog is an athlete, if that makes sense. It's because they came through a different department.
Yeah. So you would like to be known as somebody who treats the agility patients.
Yeah.
So like you'd like to be known for that, like that to be your niche.
Well, no, not my niche, but just something that they feel like they could be comfortable with coming in to see me for.
Okay.
My niche, I don't know. I love neuro stuff a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I don't,
So rewarding.
yeah.
So something that you said earlier now just really, really made me think, like where you said you were just on autopilot. And I think that happens to a lot of us. You just sort of like think, well, this is it.
Yeah.
It's how it is. And every day you're just doing the same thing, not learning, not growing. So I just want to commend you for turning that around, because you're about to do exams to specialize now. You've got, and when you get that, and I'm sure you're going to get it on the 5th of May, that'll be the highest level that you can. So from somebody who is like just comfortable with the status quo, you really are excelling now. So yeah, well done for that. But I think it is a lesson, and I really like that you shared that, because I think that we can just sometimes get so comfortable where we are. And that's not really much benefit to our patients when we're in that sort of status quo, just going along and, I know how to treat this case, and I know how to treat that case, and not learning and not growing and not challenging ourselves, and thinking of other ways in which, because, if you think about it, our field is growing so much, and one of the things I love that happens in our Facebook groups, people will share things and they'll say, like, why don't you try this? Or I just want to share something, like I tried this in the pool with this ball and this and that. And sometimes what will happen is they'll get shot down and they'll be like, where's the evidence to support that? And obviously we all like, we'd love to be everything would, if everything was driven by evidence and research and everything. But what I love that happened in our community is, the community just came up to support this person and just said, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, this is where ideas start. So from, just expanding your knowledge, just trying something new and sharing it. So yeah, it's really good that you're out of that funk and now you're growing and learning new things. And so yeah, well done for that.
Yeah, I'm also working on getting a certification for myofascial work through the North Carolina or NC State course, and then so I've been doing dry needling, which it's unbelievable how much of a difference I see that make. I'm also in the middle of doing craniosacral, which was awesome because I didn't realize how intertwined they are. And then hopefully once I get all of that out of the way, that's a long story as to why I'm doing all these things at the same time, but we don't need to go into that. I kind of messed up, but that's all right. And then I want to do the courses through NC State that are the manual therapy practitioner too, because I want to be able to understand joint mobilizations better and things like that. So it's definitely the VTS process has lit a fire under my hiney, and it has been very frustrating, but also very rewarding at the same time.
So you know what our hashtags are at Onlinepethealth. So vet rehabbers never stop learning. So you are definitely a vet rehabber.
Yes.
Never stop learning.
I love it. It's my life. I love it.
So one of the things that just before we started the podcast, we were chatting about, which I thought was such a great idea. A lot of us are sometimes in practices. Sometimes it could be primary practices. Other times it could be referral practices like urine. And sometimes it's difficult to get that client to come and actually see us. And the vet will tell the client about us and what we do, and it'll be up to them whether they actually book an appointment. So you've come up with a really novel idea, and I really love this idea, and I'd love you to share this with the listeners about how you get them to start with their post-operative exercises. And for me, I love this because at least they're doing something. Like, even if they don't come to you, at least they've got the proper advice and they're doing something in that initial post-operative period, and they don't just come to you when it's not working. They started with something. So yeah, please share with us.
Yeah. So this actually wasn't my idea. I believe it was the MedVet team in Chicago in their rehab department. So what I do is any surgery. So I track the surgeries that happen throughout the day and the MRIs that happen throughout the day. And any patients that would benefit from rehab, they get a letter emailed to them explaining that we have sent them a link we use the canine exercise subscription. So we sent them the link to some exercises to do post-op, and that they should schedule their evaluation within 2 to 3 weeks. And if they have any questions, they can email us. And it's a little more detailed than that, obviously. And then they'll get a separate email that has a link with basic passive range of motion. So obviously I don't want them doing anything that I feel like they need. Like, sending just the range of motion can be a little nerve-wracking for me too, because that can be not done right. But we all agreed when we started this that we want them to have something. We used to have a book that would go out, and it would take them through the whole TPLO process, but it was like kind of contraindicating some of the things, or contradictory to some of the things that I wanted them to be doing. And I felt like it also took away the opportunity for me to see those patients. So we stopped doing that, and we have switched it to this. And it just builds upon having the veterinarian talk about it, or the surgeon talk about it, and then at release the assistant talking about it to the client. But then they actually will have something in their inbox that introduces them to the rehab process.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a great lead generator. Like, I know that you do a small charge for it, so the vet actually charges for it. But I mean, the surgeon could do the same. They could also charge for it. So yeah, I mean, basically any patients that have any operation could be given some form of exercise, and that introduces the owner to you, very professional, sending them the videos or a link to the videos, and then at least they've started with something. And then you also have a way when they come back, you know that you've sent them the exercises, you've got something to chat about from the very start. So I love that's a great idea. So if you could give advice to anybody that's starting in the field, what advice would you give them?
It is so important to create a rapport with your referring veterinarians and gain their trust. No matter if you're a technician, nurse, doctor, physio, it's just that's the first most important thing to do. And second is admit if you don't know something, and then look it up or ask somebody, and don't be shy to look for help if you don't know what's going on. I mean, that's what a lot of these Facebook pages and things like that. I mean, some people are going to say, well, you're a nurse, you shouldn't even be doing this. I had that backlash years ago, and I was just thinking to myself, well, I'm in this situation and I do have it, so could you just help me? Because I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. I'm working under the umbrella of my surgeon. So I would just, reach out for help. Try not to get upset if somebody is rude to you, because there will be 10 other people who are not going to be rude to you. And just keep trying, just keep fighting, no matter if you get tired. Just keep working your hiney off. Just keep fighting for what you believe in as far as the rehab, and listen to your gut.
Yeah, I think for people getting into the field now, I think it's a little bit easier for them.
It is.
I think when we started, it was really hard. So we really did have to fight, all of us, and we just carried on and on and on. Do you have a few tips on how to build those relationships with your veterinarian? Anything that you do in particular which you'd like to share?
Well, I do. Every evaluation will get a referral letter. I think that's very important. I've done that since day one. They used to get it mailed, but now everybody has email, but probably nobody really remembers those days. And then, so that's a good way. I hear you mention that a lot. Yeah. Referral letters are so important. So every eval, every recheck gets a referral letter. And with our system, they can get into our portal and look at any progress that they want as far as sessions, summaries and things like that. But, we don't want to overwhelm them with the referrals, overwhelm them with the information. Try and do as much presentations as possible. I used to go visit referral partner and do lunch and learns and talking with them about things. Try and host things if you can, and try to go to your agility clubs, your poodle clubs, all the kind of clubs, and really get yourself into networking. And you really, really can't be a recluse and be in this field.
Yeah, I love it. And when you say networking, it means just consistent. Be consistent with it. You can't network for 2 months of the year and then not do it for 10 months. It's really something that is ongoing. You literally have to put reminders in to stop in at vets, to organize everything, your lunch and learns. You've got to be consistent with it. So that's great advice.
Yeah.
Shawn, thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing chatting to you, and I wish you all the best of the luck for your exam on the 5th of May. I'm sure it's going to go extremely well, and please let me know when you get your results.
I will, for sure.
Awesome, Shawn. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. I'm here every week talking to vet rehab therapists from all over the world about all things vet rehab. A big thanks to our sponsor, Curacor. Their sponsorship allows us to be able to give this podcast to you for free. So please go and check them out at curacor.org. Don't forget to bookmark the next Vet Rehab Summit. It's on Saturday, the 31st of August, 2024. Come and be a part of the world's largest online veterinary rehabilitation conference created specifically for you, the Vet Rehabber community. Online Pet Health members get VIP complimentary access to the Vet Rehab Summit. For more information about continuing education for vet rehabbers, you can go to onlinepethealth.com.